It was pure coincidence that I saw my daughter-in-law with a stranger. On my way home from work, I stopped by the market. And as I passed a cafe, I glanced through the window. The image I saw remains vivid even now. My daughter-in-law was resting her hand on a man's arm, smiling. That man was not my son. And that smile was not the face I knew. It looked comfortable, familiar, like two people who had been lovers for a long time. My mind went blank. Suspicion turned into certainty in that instant. I couldn't tell my son, nor confront my daughter-in-law. I simply walked away, almost running. From that day on, every night was filled with the same tormenting thought: should I speak? Or should I pretend I saw nothing? The most painful part was knowing my son was still unaware. He still trusted his wife, still believed he was protecting his family. And I, as his mother, had to watch silently, fearing that his faith might collapse. My name is Susan Park. I am 64 years old, an ordinary mother in the American West. I have one son, and he has been my entire life. At 38, he grew into a strong, responsible man. My daughter-in-law is 36, educated through graduate school, capable and intelligent. At first she seemed cold, but after their child was born, she softened, managed the household well, and I was grateful. 7 years into marriage, I believed they were happy. My son often reassured me, saying,
"Mom, we're doing fine, don't worry."
Holidays were spent cooking together, watching my granddaughter grow. Life seemed ordinary, peaceful. But then her evenings grew longer. First she said it was overtime, then company dinners. Once or twice was understandable, but 2 or 3 times a week felt excessive. A quiet unease began to grow inside me. When I asked if work was difficult, she answered briefly, saying her project deadline kept her busy. The words were right, but her tone was different. Her expression colder, her attention to her child less than before. One day, when she picked up the child late from daycare, I offered to help. She refused, saying she didn't want me burdened. Something about that felt wrong. I tried to dismiss my doubts. After all, I was only the mother-in-law. I couldn't pry into her phone or interrogate her. But the unease grew, and then, the day came. I had gone into town to meet a friend. With time to spare, I stopped at the market. As I left, I glanced across the street. Through the cafe window, I saw a familiar face. At first I thought I was mistaken. Surely my daughter-in-law wouldn't be there at that hour. But it was her. She wasn't dressed in her usual office attire. Her makeup was heavier, her hair carefully styled. Across from her sat a man I had never seen. And it wasn't just a casual meeting. He gently held her hand, and she didn't pull away. She smiled, comfortable, familiar. Their arms brushed, their faces leaned close. I froze. My heart dropped. I thought of my son, who loved and trusted her. The pain of knowing this was happening behind his back was unbearable. I considered taking a photo, or storming inside. But I did nothing. I fled, hiding in an alley, trembling. Asking myself over and over, did I really see that? Could it be a mistake? But the gestures, the eyes, the laughter, none of it belonged to a business meeting. That evening, she prepared dinner as if nothing had happened. Her face calm, her words ordinary. I felt chills. Did she know I had seen her? Or was she simply living with 2 faces? From then on, I could no longer live as before. Every word, every smile, every touch with the child felt suspicious. I avoided being alone with her, afraid she might sense my knowledge, or that I might break. My son remained oblivious. He even told me she had apologized for working late so often. He asked me to understand her. His trust made my heart ache even more. Days later, I deliberately passed by the cafe again. I hoped I had been wrong. But there she was, with the same man. This time they were more cautious. Dressed casually, but their eyes betrayed them. He brushed her hair. She closed her eyes briefly, then smiled. I knew then it was not a mistake. It was real. That night, my son came home, unaware. He asked if I was well, worried about my health. His innocence broke me. He was pure, caring, and yet his world was crumbling without his knowledge. I fought a silent war. Morning and night, the image haunted me. If I told him, everything would end. If I stayed silent, I would collapse. Finally, I decided to confront her. Sitting across from her, I steadied myself. I told her I had seen her at the cafe. Her face froze, her eyes trembled, her hands shook. Then she admitted it. She said she was sorry, that she didn't know why she was doing this. She confessed she had been lonely raising a child, working, with a husband always busy, no one offering her warmth. That man treated her like a person. Her confession was shocking, yet painfully real. Loneliness, dulled affection, the grind of daily life. I understood, but I didn't want to. She said she wanted to end it, never meet him again. She wept, fragile, not defiant. That night, I sat with my son. I couldn't speak. He spoke instead, saying he felt guilty for not caring enough for his wife. He had no idea. His innocence tore me apart. I realized silence could no longer protect anyone. I told her she must confess to him herself. She resisted, fearing he would never forgive her. But I insisted. He loved her, trusted her, and he deserved to hear it from her. She cried for a long time, then nodded. That night, she told him everything. I left the house, unable to imagine their conversation. Late at night, my son returned alone. His face pale, his eyes bloodshot. He whispered,
Mom, I know everything now.
He sat at the table, silent for a long time, then pulled out an envelope. Inside were divorce papers. He said she could no longer be his partner. He asked if I could help him. I told him not to worry. The house was filled with silence, the sound of a family breaking. The next day, she packed her things and left. My granddaughter held my hand, smiling, unaware. I resolved then to protect her, to raise her in true love. The days after were strangely quiet. My granddaughter played at the park. My son spoke less. He blamed himself, wondering why he hadn't noticed her loneliness. Why he hadn't been warmer. I simply patted his back, reminding him that what mattered now was the future. Soon, he filed the papers. The divorce became official. She requested visitation rights, but the child stayed with us. My granddaughter grew closer to me, her attachment stronger. Walking home from the market, holding her hand, I looked up at the sky. Family is difficult. Blind trust is dangerous. Silence is not an answer. Ignoring the truth only brings deeper wounds. I do not hate her. She was lonely, she wanted recognition. I cannot forgive, but I cannot fully despise her either. She is human, as I am. But my son lost too much trust, love, his home. Now he must live holding on to his daughter. So I made a vow. This child will never suffer such pain. Each night, as I tuck her in, I whisper, Grandma will always be on your side. No matter what, I will protect you. And to myself, I say, protecting family begins with the courage to face the truth. I will never be silent again. Whatever pain comes, I believe that relationships built on truth are the strongest of all. I hope today's story conveyed emotion and realization to you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Share your story with us. We'll tell your story to the world. Sharing makes the world brighter. Don't forget to like and subscribe.